In my time, my subjects call me the Maestro!
Doomsday is set just a year away, hitting theaters next December, and there's a pretty good chance we might finally see Maestro Hulk show up in that movie, or maybe the year after in Secret Wars. For those who don't know, Maestro is a supervillain from Marvel Comics, created by Peter David and George Perez. He first appeared back in The Incredible Hulk Future Imperfect #1 in 1992. He's basically an older, twisted version of the Hulk from an alternate future called Earth 9200. Imagine Bruce Banner's brains combined with the Hulk's raw power, but with a much darker, more ruthless personality. Over the years, Maestro has popped up in several video games and even appeared in the animated series Hulk and the Agents of Smash, voiced by Fred Tatasciore. The name Maestro comes from Italian, Spanish, and Portuguese, meaning teacher, master, or even a musical conductor. Kind of fitting for a character who rules his world with a mix of intellect and brute force. After a massive nuclear war wipes out most of humanity, AIM and MODOK capture Hulk and other heroes who can survive radiation, hoping to recreate their resistance. About a century later, Hulk, now fully in control of Bruce Banner's intelligence, manages to break free. With the world in ruins, he sets out to rebuild it on his own terms. When he reaches America, he's crushed by what's left of it. Hoover Dam and Mount Rushmore are gone, and everything feels hopeless. Eventually, he discovers survivors living beneath Washington, guarded by Machine Man, who introduces him to their leader, known as the Maestro. But to Hulk's surprise, the so-called Maestro is actually Hercules. Hercules greets Hulk the only way he knows how, with a punch, just to remind him of their old rivalry. Soon after, Hulk reconnects with his old friend Rick Jones, who fills him in. Hercules has turned into a selfish ruler who only cares about fighting and indulging himself. Hulk isn't exactly eager to save humanity, blaming them for the apocalypse, but Rick's words hit home. Remembering the people he once cared about, Hulk decides to take action. He breaks into what's left of Alchemax and builds an army of bioengineered soldiers known as the Dogs of War to take the fight to Hercules and his forces. Hercules eventually joins the battle himself, tearing through Hulk's army of Dogs of War without breaking a sweat. He taunts Hulk into a one-on-one fight and ends up beating him badly. Instead of killing him, Hercules spares Hulk's life and keeps him around as part of his entourage. But Hulk isn't done yet. He disappears for years, plotting revenge. When he finally returns, he brings along Vapor from the UFOs, who poisons Hercules and kills him. Then, in true Hulk fashion, he turns on Vapor, freezes her, smashes her into pieces, and scatters her remains across a huge area so she can never come back. As Hulk prepares to cremate Hercules' body, things take a dark twist. Hercules is resurrected by Hades and comes back furious. The Dogs of War can't stop him, and even Hulk struggles to put him down. Eventually, one of Rick Jones' former allies activates an old Forge-designed weapon meant to kill Hulk, but it ends up taking out Hercules instead. Afterward, Hulk goes looking for Rick, only to find he's vanished. Rick contacts him remotely, compares him to his abusive father Brian Banner, and then tries to blow him up with a bomb. Hulk survives, of course. After that, Hulk fully embraces his darker side and creates a movement called PAX, short for Post-Apocalyptic Existence. His plan is simple: wipe out all divisions among humans and make himself the ultimate ruler. He expands his empire, taking control of areas like Connecticut and the underground settlements beneath Washington, D.C., though one of those groups destroys their own home just to spite him. Eventually, Maestro even teams up with Dr. Doom to crush AIM and his old team, the Pantheon, who threaten their world domination plans. Once their enemies are gone, the two power-hungry geniuses turn on each other, leading to an intense fight that ends with Doom retreating. After being pushed over the edge by the destruction of everything he loved and overloaded with radiation from the nuclear fallout, the Hulk fully embraces the title of Maestro. The extra radiation boosts his strength even more, making him an almost unstoppable force. Later, an older Rick Jones runs into Proteus, a reality-hopping mutant who's taken over an alternate Hulk from the year 2099. Proteus plans to leave that body behind and take over the Maestro, and Rick unknowingly gives him Forge's weapon, which might kill Maestro. The plan fails when the exiles warn Maestro, and Proteus escapes to another reality, breaking Maestro's neck in the process. Years later, Maestro, fully healed, runs into time-traveling Genus Vale and Spider-Man 2099. The villain Thanatos manipulates events to pit the three against each other, but eventually, Genus Vale and Spider-Man return to their own timeline without affecting Maestro, thanks to elderly Rick using Thor's hammer Mjolnir to defeat Thanatos. Then, the rebels opposing Maestro steal Dr. Doom's time machine to bring Professor Hulk from the past, hoping he can take down Maestro. While Hulk manages some clever attacks, Maestro's superior strength, experience, and knowledge of Hulk's tactics give him the upper hand, and he even breaks Hulk's neck. Maestro tries to convince the younger Hulk to join him while showing him his city, but Hulk is faking his injuries and planning a counterattack. In the end, Hulk lures Maestro back to the rebel base, where Maestro throws Rick Jones into Wolverine's skeleton, but it backfires. Using Doom's time machine, Hulk sends Maestro back to the exact moment and place where the Hulk was created, the Gamma Bomb test. Maestro is killed instantly, dying in the same explosion that gives birth to Hulk. Hulk discovers that his homing sense, the instinct that always leads him back to the site where he was created, is actually drawn to the Maestro's spirit. Every time Maestro returns to Ground Zero, he absorbs gamma radiation from Hulk, slowly regenerating himself. When he finally re-emerges, he's weak and emaciated, but a group of Asgardian rock trolls find him and help him recover. They give him the Destroyer armor as a weapon to compensate for his weakness. Maestro tries to use it against Hulk, but Hulk cleverly transfers his own soul into the Destroyer as well, exploiting the fact that Maestro is technically still part of him. This forces Maestro back into his frail body, which ends up buried under a small rock slide with the trolls. Later, after Banner is shot in the head, Extremis is used to repair his brain, creating a new version of Hulk called Doc Green. Green hunts other Gamma mutants, but he starts having visions of the Maestro, hinting that he could eventually turn into his dark future self. He realizes part of him enjoys eliminating rivals and decides it's safer to let Extremis fade naturally rather than risk the Maestro persona taking over. Green leaves the cure with She-Hulk in case he ever goes too far. On Battleworld during Secret Wars, Maestro resurfaces as the ruler of Dystopia. He pretends to be a powerless Odin to trick the Resistance and faces Thunderbolt Ross, the local version of Thing. After a tough fight, he promises to free Dystopia if Ross helps him kill God Emperor Doom. Maestro tracks the Destroyer to Asgardia, guarded by Ulik, only to find the final defense is an elderly Rick Jones. Maestro merges with the Destroyer, kills Doom, and seemingly conquers Battleworld, but it turns out the entire fight was an illusion, trapping him in a false victory. Maestro is eventually released and seen helping Doom against riots in Doomstad. Well, that's it for today. Which version of Maestro do you think is the most intense? The post-apocalyptic tyrant, the time-traveling menace, or the Battleworld conqueror? Share your thoughts in the comments section down below, and make sure to subscribe to our channel for all the latest updates on upcoming movies, series, and everything Marvel.